Even 1 year after Israel's attacks on Gaza, the lives of young Palestinians remains severely disrupted with a lack of infrastructure and, importantly, proper schooling. It's an issue that's touched one of the leading figures in the region, a woman who's a staunch advocate for children's rights. I spoke with Her Majesty Queen Rania Al-Abdullah of Jordan about her concerns for the region's youth in the shadow of a stalled Israeli-Palestinian peace process.
Well, if you really look at the Middle East issue, the Palestinian-Israeli issue over the past period, it's really been flare-ups and bouts of violence coming up with brief interludes of diplomacy, but the deadly stalemate still continues. And 1 year after the invasion of Gaza, the people are still living in an atmosphere of aggression and dispossession, with conflict and occupation being the major themes of their lives. So if you look at a place like Gaza, 2/3 of the population live under the poverty line, unable to provide for the basics of food, shelter, or clothing. And what concerns me the most is the children, because they're living in the shadow of an occupation and being scarred by conflict with no ability to have any sense of normalcy in their lives. And one of the best ways to give kids a sense of stability and normalcy is through schools. And that's why education is so important. Today in Palestine, there are 108,000 children that are out of school. That figure is up from 4,000 10 years ago. So you can see an exponential rise in that. And what are these children being exposed to? How can they have a normal childhood and grow up to be healthy citizens? So this really underlines the importance of us really trying to solve this issue. Incremental steps and a process for the sake of process only feeds anger, frustration, and a loss of hope. So we really need to move faster than this and try to really resolve some of those outstanding issues.
Apart from the harm it does to that generation left hanging, as you describe, there is a knock-on effect on where it leaves that generation in terms of their own decisions, what they feel in terms of what their lives are worth, and the idea of radicalism and so on. Perhaps is something that also will be more of a concern.
I believe that, you know, in order to really rid our world of radicalization, we need to deal with the main issue that drives radicalization. And for me, that's just summarized in one word: injustice. And injustice can come from a sense of a feeling that there's no hope, that you don't have a hope for your future, that there's no chance for you making anything out of your life, that you've been deprived of your basic rights to be able to make the most out of your own life. Or injustice can come from a sense of unfairness and persecution, humiliation of a population. So on the one hand, to deal with the first type of injustice, we need to give people an education, because education gives people the ability and the skills to make the most of the opportunities that are presented to them, to create opportunities if they don't exist, to really see themselves climbing out of their situation. And the second thing we have to do is resolve some of the injustices regarding human rights, etc., that are taking place.